Good evening. Meeting is now called to order. This is the Public Works and Transportation meeting for November the 17th. I'm the chair, Councilwoman Xanthi Oliver, for the 3rd District. At this time, I will call those members who are on the committee first, and then individuals, council members who are here to participate. And first, I'm going to start with myself. I'm present. Vice Chair, Council Member Nathan Field. Council Member Nathan Field. Next, Council Member Chris Johnson.
Here.
Councilwoman Christian Willow.
Here.
Council Member Nathan Field. Okay, President Ernest Trippy Congo.
Here.
As a friendly reminder, only members of the committee should be making motions and second them. Okay, we're going to get started with the agenda. First, we're going to start with Councilmember, Ms. Bass Knight.
Yes, Chairman Oliver, just wanted to mention that I'm not sure if Councilman Field is having technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm present.
Okay.
Thank you. I'd like to Council Member Nathan Field, Vice Chair.
Present.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bass Knight. Okay, we're going to start with the agenda. I'm going to start with Ordinance 25064, ordinance to authorize and approve the network as service agreement between the City of Wilmington and Delmar Power. Who's here to speak for that?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Vince Croce, Deputy Commissioner, Department of Public Works. I'll be speaking to the ordinance. This is a ordinance 5 years with 2 5-year renewals with Delmarva Power, PHI, to enter into a network as a service agreement. This would allow us to move away from.
Excuse me, could y'all mute your telephones, please, or computers? I'm sorry.
This would allow us to move away from the current meter reading methodology that we use, which is the AMR, to an AMI, which is an automated metering infrastructure, utilizing the Delmarva Power meters that are installed every place that our water meters are. So this is be a two-prong type of a thing. First, there's the service that we're going to be purchasing with PHI, and then the other piece of it is going to be with Itron that you'll see coming up in the near future. This will essentially allow for better, better performance with our customers. We'll be able to read meters just essentially by pushing a button and bringing the data into our customer information system.
Thank you. Vince, is this what they have been installing around town? The new meters they're installing?
No, this is something, so the existing meters that are already in place will continue to be used, but we'll end up changing the endpoints on them once we enter into this agreement and start moving forward with the project.
And the fiscal impact?
It's $91,200 a year for the first year, and each year has a 3% increase over the term of the agreement.
Is this company from Wilmington?
Well, Delmarva Power is.
A regular Delmarva Power.
Yeah.
I know some of them have out of town. Okay, do we have any council members with their hands up? I think that's Councilman Christian. Okay, Councilmember Christian Willow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is this contract the only expense associated with changing the metering to Delmarva's system?
Now, as I mentioned, there's also going to be a piece with Itron, but what that will do, it will take the place of an existing contract that we have for automated meter reading, where they drive around and collect the reads. Once we move to AMI, that driving around piece will no longer occur. At the end of the day, we expect the costs for what we're doing now with AMR, as we move to AMI, we expect the costs to be roughly the same, but we'll have a lot greater level of service. We'll also be able to do leak detection. Customers will be able to get interval data throughout the day by just going to a website and looking at it, similar to what you're able to do with your Delmarva Power bill now.
Is there a follow-up?
Can I have a follow-up?
Sure.
So my only question is that, Delmarva Power has been all over, the news, and a lot of constituents are talking to their, me and other council members about their bills. And some of it has to do with rates going up or other things, but some of it has to do with these errors in billing or apparent errors in billing that just take a lot of time to work out. And, I'm just wondering, I'm just a little bit concerned about going with a billing system associated with Delmarva Power. And I was just wondering if you...
Let me clarify. We're not going with a billing system, associated with them. We're essentially using their already established mesh network to bring our own meter data in to the city and using our own customer information system for billing. We're just making use of their network. That's why it's called a network as a service agreement.
And I guess, could I have one last follow-up?
Sure, take your time. Go ahead.
And have there been any just kind of considerations of some of the dangers of doing this, or possible downsides of doing it this way?
Well, right now, we send somebody driving around our district multiple times a month, capturing the reads in a mobile reader in a vehicle. Essentially, this would allow us to have the reads coming in through the mesh network into the city, and being able to read the meters, essentially push button reading. We would also be able to do leak detection because we would have interval data coming back from the endpoints on a regular basis.
I'm going to come back to you, Councilmember Willhauer. Next, Councilman Nathan Field, I see you had your hand up.
Yes, I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So first question is, who drafted this agreement? Was it drafted by Delmarva or was it drafted by the city of Wilmington?
It's Delmarva's agreement that, as reviewed by our law department. With that, it's made.
So was there any back and forth? Or
Absolutely.
did Delmarva simply submit the agreement and the
No.
city signed off on it?
No, it's nothing signed off on it because it hasn't been approved. So there has been back and forth between their legal counsel and ours in drafting the language in the agreement.
Another question I have is the ordinance requires that the city of Wilmington sign an agreement with Itron, but the Itron agreement is not disclosed. Shouldn't it need to be?
That's going to be a separate agreement that's still being reviewed. We should have that for council review shortly.
Okay.
This won't
Will
be
the city be
signed.
losing the capability for the city to perform this work in the future?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Any of the work that's listed in here, by signing this, would the city be losing, would it prevent a future city government from deciding that it wants to do this work in the future?
Currently, Itron is our meter reader and has been since 2006. They're currently, as I described, using automated meter reading, which is a drive-by collector to capture their reads. So there is currently no city employees that are doing this type of work. Once we make the move to a mesh network, that we most likely would not be going back. It would be very disruptive to try to go back to a manual method of reading meters in the future.
One more question,
Follow-
Chair. Is that okay?
Sure, follow up. Take your time.
Okay. Are we losing the capability for the city to perform this work by eliminating our own equipment?
We don't have our own equipment right now. We're under contract with Itron under a 5-year agreement to read the meters now.
Okay. And then one last question I wanted to ask is, so despite DPL's additional, quote, security sections, it doesn't seem to have any liability for disclosures or misuse of the data collected or going through its systems beyond commercially reasonable measures, which is security and privacy slang for we tried and did some things.
So
Do you have any comment on that point?
as the information comes across their mesh network into, and it's fed off to Itron, everything is encrypted and all the back-end data, the head end is managed by Itron, who currently manages the data for the city. So Delmarva doesn't capture our data, doesn't store our data. We simply use their network to get it from our customers to the head end that is managed by Itron.
Okay. All right. Those concludes my questions, but I do think this is, to the degree that I've read it and from some of the feedback that I've gotten, it seems like a somewhat one-sided agreement. And, but that's the purpose of the committee meeting, to discuss it further. So thank you.
Sure, I'm gonna come back to you, Councilman Field. Well, I think he made a good point. Why isn't the additional Itron, it's not attached to it?
It's
So,
because it's a separate agreement and it's still being worked on.
okay, but is it gonna be part of this package?
Now, there's two different pieces, and we won't sign off on one until the whole thing's ready to go. So there's two pieces of this. One is having the mesh, access to their mesh network to get the data back to the city, and the other piece is that Itron has to stand up is putting new endpoints on every meter, then standing up the head end for the system and being able to capture and configure that data. So both pieces have to go together, and we wouldn't execute either agreement until both pieces are ready to go.
So I guess my question is to you, since it's two pieces, do you think we should have both of them together this evening? If you said.
The other one's not ready yet, or it would be.
Yeah, no, I'm just, no, I'm saying,
yeah.
no, I hear what you're saying, but I'm asking you a question. So, the other one's not ready, so what he is saying, I'm listening to what Councilman Field is saying. If it's another piece that goes to this, why aren't we just waiting to get the other piece? Just help me explain that.
It's another piece with another company. So this part is going to be provided by Delmarva PHI. They own the mesh network. They put this in back during the old ARPA projects. It's been at least 15 years ago. And now how they read every every electric and gas meter is through an AMI process. Those are those devices you see on your meters. They put all the meters on there. We're going to essentially just take advantage of the infrastructure they've already installed so that we can read the water meters the same way. This is only for the network piece of it, and the other piece of it would be, as I said, the Itron would stand that piece up, and then they would be transmitting the data that we collect from our meters and would go into our billing system as it currently does. It's just how we get the data back here. Right now, it's manual. This would make it automated.
Vince, you gotta understand, you know all of this, but some people it sounds real far-fetched. More questions, Kobe, Councilman Kobe, okay. Do we have any more questions from council members?
May I ask one more question?
Of course. Thank you.
Mr. Croce, I would feel uncomfortable issuing a final vote on this before seeing the Itron agreement. Is it your expectation that before a final vote, that agreement will be in place so that we can see it? Because I, in my experience, in the 4 or 5 years that I've been on council, I feel comfortable when I'm dealing with city employees that I know and can have a back and forth with, but these big, basically global corporations, or at least national and regional corporations, I've not found the same level of responsiveness. So I just don't feel, I really want to be able to see the Itron agreement. And so will we be able to see it prior to a vote?
So that is going back and forth with Itron as far as final approval, and then once I get that, our law department will need to review it. So the reason we were getting this on the agenda is to try to get, because of the budget and things of that nature, they're going to be upcoming here in the future months. We wanted to get ahead of this and just get the contracts approvals in place so we could sign. But as I said, we would not execute this agreement until the full package is ready to go. One part doesn't work without the other.
Do you have a follow-up?
No, that answers my question. I'm satisfied with the information that I've gotten. Thank you.
I have one last question. So, the company right here, I mean, he brought up something about people's bills and what's going on, with people's electric bills. And these are the same companies, so I do see the questions being legitimate, question. Do we have anyone from the public that would like to, make a comment? Yes, we have, comment online for Mr. Victor Crushman. Are you online?
I am. Thank you. As this stands, I stand against this agreement. I've read through it carefully without seeing the Itron agreement. I don't think we can see the total cost and the total improvement. When we look at these things, we ought to be asking, how does this change the resident experience? And I take our officials' word that we'll have data which can now come back to end users, which is a huge improvement. As a person who just had a 24,000 gallon leak in their house while I was traveling, it would have been great to know that in real time. And I would point out that DP&L systems do not give you data in real time. They give you data the next day, 24 hours past the end of the day. So on what happens through midnight, I don't see that data until 11:59 p.m. the next day. So in terms of saving money from large water leaks or renters that have continuous leaks or a massive system leak, there may be capabilities that are better for the city to see that. But as an end user, I don't know that this really improves my experience other than a day behind. Also, research has shown from the Department of Energy that these systems, these AMI systems, tend to affect the disadvantaged and the most vulnerable more than others. And I say that because when you put these systems in place, you add new capabilities. That's the whole purpose of implementing these systems. And DP&L's system would allow, for example, a meter to be shut off instantly. So people who are disadvantaged and can't deal with that appropriately, I know we don't have a policy of doing that. I've listened on other council meetings, but it brings in a whole lot of capabilities which I believe need to be controlled. And normally they are regulated at a state level, not at a city level. So as we stand, I am against this until further data comes out, until we know what the actual capabilities of the system will be in more detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Victor. If you can send us your telephone number, it'd be well appreciated. Any more questions from the public?
I've got my hand raised.
Okay, I'm gonna come to you. Give me 1 second. Do we have no one? Okay. Christian, I don't see your hand, council member, but you can go ahead and speak.
Oh, thank you very much, Madam Chair. I would just like to echo my council colleagues who've asked to see the two agreements at the same time so that we could make an informed decision about the scope of the project. So I would just request that we not move forward with a vote on this legislation until we could see both of them together.
Thank you, council member. Is any other council members like to say have any comments? Do we have anyone else here from the public that would like to make a comment? As we are aware, this is automatically goes out for a vote, so that could be something we can further discussion, but this ordinance doesn't have to be voted out of committee. So with that being said, we will have this on the agenda on what day? December? President Congo? I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. No, I was just about to ask the same thing that you were about to announce about when and if this is going to be on an upcoming agenda. because there are several concerns from council members and the public. So I didn't know if something is already planned to go on the agenda or not.
Yes, it doesn't have to be voted out. Ms. English, what day is this on the agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
that needs to be determined. As of right now, it's tentatively slated for December the 4th. But it's a matter of did you want to address some of your colleagues' questions? So it doesn't absolutely have to go on the December 4th agenda. The meeting date has to be determined.
thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bass Knight. But this is to be on the agenda, and we can have this discussion because I don't want to get into the rule is the rule. We said we want these to be out, and what we could do is have a discussion prior to that, maybe reach out to Public Works if we don't have the votes or something of that nature to let them know we want to hold it so we don't, so individuals don't vote it down. But I want to just keep it consistent and just say this is going to be there on the agenda on what date, Ms. English?
December the 4th.
Okay.
Can I address
So,
two
I mean,
items
so
that were-
you can, but it's up to Public Works if y'all want it to go out, if you want to, email and we want to have further discussion.
Can I address two items that were brought up as far as the frequency of data collection? 4 times per day is how many times the reads are connected. And unlike electric power, water, you cannot shut it off remotely. It doesn't work that way. Electric, you can address the meter and you can shut the meter off, not with water.
No, I understand that, but I'm going to ask you a question. Would you like to hold this up for further discussion, or do you want it to go on the floor on the 12th? That's up to you, because I don't want to make a change in the middle of.
All right, let me let you know tomorrow. I'll find out when the ITRON agreement will be in hand and how long it'll take law to review it, if you want to wait for that piece of it.
I think that's okay. Okay, you're going to Ms. Bass Knight, an email tomorrow?
Certainly.
Okay, because just listening to the comments, you may want to do that.
Okay.
Thank you, Vince, for that. You want to just go right into the next one?
Which one are you doing next?
I'm going to do my ordinance 20, I thought it just hit me. 25-0, is there another? Yeah, we're going to do another ordinance, is 25-065 ordinance to amend Chapter 37 of the City Code to establish the rules of usage of low-speed motorist scooters and electric bicycles in the city of Wilmington. Okay. How you doing? Can you say your name and title, please?
Good evening, Madam Chair. My name's Kelly Williams. I am the Commissioner of Public Works. So this ordinance establishes a rule for the operation of electric bicycles and low-speed motor scooters within the city of Wilmington. It makes the ordinance consistent with the recently enacted state law. It imposes helmet requirements and, make sure that the riders are following all the traffic rules.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. I'm going to come back to you. Ms. Elise, could you come up, please? Could you say your name, and could you share with us the short version of all this?
Yes, I'm Elisa Goodall Richardson, the Policy Fellow with Wilmington City Council. Essentially, this ordinance basically just mirrors the state law. It's just incorporating the state law basically into the city code. The city code currently doesn't have language for e-bikes or e-scooters, so we're basically just incorporating that language pretty much verbatim to the city code. The main difference is just the age requirements for the Class 1 and Class 2 e-bikes. So for Class 1, ages 7 to 12 must be supervised by a parent or legal guardian, and 13 plus can ride alone, and that is the same for Class 2 as well. And then just for clarity, for Class 3 e-bikes, riders must be 16 or older, and for low-speed motorized scooters, riders must be 14 plus.
Could you give us a copy of that? So, and give Commissioner one a copy of it, so nothing like a visual.
Thank you.
When you see it visually, it makes a difference. And give the Commissioner one, please. And also, I would like to state that it wasn't until recently for House Bill 114 with Representative Cindy Romer and State Rep, she's State Rep, and Senator Dave Sokola, who just put this legislation in Dover recently, because prior to that, scooters were illegal, and who knew as long as they've been riding them around. So it wasn't anything on the books for the city of Wilmington. So Commissioner, myself, and fellows, we came up with this legislation to put something on the books, and it's not to penalize anyone currently, but to be an educational, and the police educational piece. We had a press conference today where we were able to give out some of these cards. I'm gonna get these out. And we'll pass these out. Give one to the commissioner. Pass out all this good literature. And we were able to drop some of the information off today at Howard Career Center and Bancroft School for the teachers to have a conversation with some of the youth. It's the holidays. A lot of people are buying scooters and the e-bikes, and I thought it was important because one day I was coming up 10th Street right by the Y, and the e-bike, the gentleman on the bike just turned the corner. The bus is there. There's nowhere to go. He almost ran into me. It was either running to the bus or running to the other car, and I stayed still. He went around, but the purpose is you have to follow the traffic. And the officers did speak to us today and state that this is really good. We gave them a stack of these, so they start pulling people over and giving them the information. And individuals don't know it's illegal for scooters to be on sidewalks. And I was glad that we were able to have, what's his name from Downtown Vision, Machetti? Majetti. And he really explained a lot of things that's occurring up on the mall. And like I said, I think it's an educational piece. But the bottom line, it is some fines, some penalties that's already in place with the state law. And right now, this is just an educational piece, which another piece will be coming out. And if any individuals from the committee have any questions, please feel free. Councilmember Owens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I do have a few questions with this. I love these little cards that you gave out. That's great. Will there be any additional funds put in for the Wilmington Police to do educational events? I know currently, right now, they do the bike safety training through Officer Ryan Jordan to teach kids how to ride bikes, helmets and everything, the importance of that. I don't know if kids are going to read something like this. Sometimes it has to be a little more hands-on. And my follow-up question to that is, what are the fines associated with it? If we're codifying this into our city language here, it means that the fines would come from Wilmington Police, not state. So therefore, we would have to be dealing with it. So what would the fines be associated with this?
Kendra, you want to share? Yep.
So the fines are, in the city code, is written as citing the state penalties. So it says that if, you follow this, and the state penalties will apply if you don't. So for helmet requirements, for the first offense is $25. And for the subsequent offenses, each of them are $50. For the first offense for scooters, it would be not less than $25 and not more than $115. And for second or subsequent offenses within 2 years, the fines would be $57.50 and not more than $230. That's reckless operation of a motorized scooter. And so for e-bikes, the fine or penalties would be for riding under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And those fines would be not less than $150 for the first offense, not more than $1,150 for subsequent offenses, and possible imprisonment for not less than 10 days and not more than 30 days for subsequent offenses.
And this is operating,
Follow up?
oh, sorry.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
go ahead.
follow up. This is operating e-bike with any substance, under any influence?
Drugs or alcohol, under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
Okay. Can we have that language put into this so that we know what, or?
It is cited in
in there.
the
when you-
ordinance. It says according to state law or something of that nature.
Any other council members have any questions? I'll come back. Any other council members have any questions? And I would like to point out, talking to the senator and talking to the police, as they stated, and I'm saying the same thing, this is as if like when scooters, when the mopeds first came out and we had to put something in place. So now they're trying to put something in place and said the officers have enough to do, so they're just trying to take baby steps. And like I said, wasn't trying to hit anybody across the head, but there has been some fatalities with these scooters and e-bikes because, it's just like a joyride, like scooters were. I mean, like the mopeds was, but people have been killed for senselessness, just not following some of the simple rules. As that's why we're putting out the cards to show you, it's the same thing you use, the signs you use if you're riding a bike, but we have to get used to it. But they are starting to, out San Francisco, different places, that's what they do. But here it's just an increase, and we just want to put awareness out. And the state also stated that right now they haven't had a lot of fines or anything. I mean, they've been keeping track on it, but we want to put it out there, and the officers, or Officer Gordon and other officers, are putting out the cards now, and our state, they have pulled over a couple of people and warned them, as well as Mr. Machete in town, Downtown Visions. They took some and they said they've been warning people. So I think right now it's just trying to get used that people are really starting to buy these e-bikes. One lady said she bought her daughter an e-bike and posed to her car because, as far as gas. But President Congo?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Can anyone speak to the speed parameters? I know it was mentioned earlier about low speed versus high speed.
Yes.
So for Class 1 e-bikes, the maximum speed is 20 miles per hour. The Class 1s are the e-bikes with the pedal assist. Class 2 e-bikes are throttle with pedals. The maximum on that is 20 miles per hour. For Class 3 e-bikes, they're pedal assist or throttle with pedals. The maximum for that is 28 miles per hour. And then for the low-speed motorized scooters, the maximum is 15 miles per hour.
All right, thank you. Just a follow-up, Madam Chair.
Yes, President.
And what are the ages associated with the different speeds?
So for the Class 1 and Class 2, which has the maximum of 20 miles per hour, the ages between 7 and 12, they must be supervised by by a parent or legal guardian. And then 13 and older, they can ride alone. And then for Class 3, which mirrors the state language, it's 16 and older. And then for the e-scooters, it's 14 and older. And that also mirrors the state language.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we do have a chart over here that I will be giving out for December the 4th. So that was part of the educational piece that we gave out today down to the Urban Bike League. Because once you see it, I'm sorry we don't have it on us. We should have had it up on the screen. I apologize for that. Once you see it on the screen visually, it gives you a little bit more content. Any other council members? Sure. Mr. Owens.
Thank you,
Councilman
Madam
Owens.
Chair. This necessarily doesn't have to do with this exact piece of legislation, but if we are going to be pushing for, I read somewhere in here that they have to be in the street with this. I think it's extremely important that we continue to push for a more walkable city. while also making it more bike friendly as well too, e-bike friendly, e-scooter friendly as well too, and making sure that we're connecting the city as well too. We've done a really good job at putting it in some neighborhoods, but then there's gaps in there. So if we're doing legislation on this, just keeping that in mind, I guess it would be next budget cycle on how we could continue to put bike lanes in for riders to properly do this, because cars are getting very expensive for people, and a lot of people are using scooters and bikes to get to work every day. I saw a young man have a whole cooler on the back of his scooter, and I guess he had went shopping. So again, people are using these as a way to connect them to point A to point B in their lives, in the absence of having a strong, robust public transportation system, and just cost of living's going up. Thank you.
Good point. Thank you, Councilman Lawrence. Do we have any individuals from, do you think you want to say anything, Ms. Dr. Ken, you want to add anything?
Oh, I just wanted to say, to your question about the funding, we have had some discussions about there possibly being funding attached to safety, highway safety. So potentially trying to go after some of that funding to help with the awareness and also making resources available for people to comply with the law.
Thank you. We're just waiting for a response for that. We've done our homework on this, if y'all have noticed. Thank you to the fellow. You did a really good job with your research, and thank you, Dr. Kendra. I appreciate it. Alicia, can you give us some of these? Before we close out, we want to give out a few of these flyers that we participated in a nice, give one to everybody, to a nice press conference today. So we are seeking gently used bike helmet donation. We're in, we're with, working with the Urban Bike League. I want everybody to know that is the only bike company in the city of Wilmington currently. The rest of them have closed up or relocated. So we are working with Laura, who's the director of the Urban Bike League, who does a great job down there. And she had her e-bike in her 10-speed down there today, so we were able to see her e-bike and go through some steps. So we just, if you have a helmet that you haven't really used, not them broken up, because these are serious. They're taking donations for the holiday, as we stated. It's a lot of bikes down there, and it's a lot of youth who don't have helmets. If you have an old helmet, not one that's broken up, generally used, please feel free to drop it off at the Urban Bike League. I think we have someone else online who would like to speak. Miss, please come up and say your name and ask your question.
Good evening, Madam Chair, and all those in attendance. My name is Pam Salam, and I'm from Southbridge. And I have several questions. Number one, I hear that there will be a warning in the educating the city about this ordinance that will be enforced. Will there be a grace period of time before charges will be then applied to these individuals who are being, I guess, pulled over, for lack of a better word?
Okay, that's your first question. What's your next one?
My next one is, once the fines begin, where is that money, what bucket is that money going into? And then my last question is, I heard, if I'm clear, I've heard like as young as 7 years old, 8 years old. So the rider wouldn't necessarily get this ticket. I guess it would be the parent. I'm not clear on that. And those were my 3 questions.
Okay. You signed in. Make sure you put your telephone number.
I did sign in.
Okay, thank you. It's always good to see you.
And someone to get back with those
Yeah,
answers?
we'll get back to you too. Good questions. Do we have anyone else here from the public that have any questions? Do we have any other council members that have any questions? Okay. This ordinance does not have to be voted out. and this will be on December the 4th. Okay. Next, we have a resolution confirming appointments for the Wilmington Parking Authority Board of Directors. Who's here to speak towards that? Say your name and your title.
Good evening, Chairwoman Oliver. My name is Daniel Walker, Deputy Chief of Staff to Mayor Carney. I'll be speaking on the appointment resolution.
Sure. Please proceed.
Thank you. This resolution simply seeks to appoint individuals and 3 individuals and reappoint 2 individuals to the Wilmington Parking Authority. These appointments come from Mayor Carney. They are as followed. Reappointing Jeff Flynn, whose term will expire on June 30th, 2029. With this reappointment, Larry Carson is also being reappointed, whose term would expire June 30th, 2023. With this reappointment, we are also seeking to appoint 3 individuals to fulfill the terms of folks who are no longer going to fulfill their appointments. One is Mike Pozicki, whose term would expire on June 30th, 2026. Dwight Holden, whose term would expire on June 30th, 2027. And Sylvia Banks, whose term would expire on June 30th, 2028. Per the code, all individuals are Wilmington residents. We are also required per the code and Delaware state law to stagger the terms, which is why we have one person cycling off each year, if you noticed that during my overview of the appointments. The board is only made up of 5 individuals. With this appointee list, they will also need to vote on the chair of the authority, the parking authority, as that position will be vacant. With that said, I'll entertain any comments.
Have any
or
council
questions.
members with any questions? I do have one. You said that vacant, it's coming up, the director of the parking authority?
The chair.
The chair.
The chair, yes,
Who's
ma'am.
the current chair? I should know that, but I.
Geraldine Coleman is the current chair.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Sorry, Geraldine.
Oh, okay, right. Okay. Do we have any questions regarding the reappointments of the Wilmington Parking Authority? Have anyone online? So, any council member Owens?
Yes, real quick. Can you 4 of these names are really good people that I know will do a good job on this, but can you speak to what qualifications Mike Pozicki may have to be on this board?
Yes, the parking authority is a development authority, and Mike Pozicki is a developer. And so that is one of the things that they have the authority to do. That's one of the elements that they are undertaking, as well as financing the Wilmington Parking Authority. While they are a sort of quasi government entity, they have a large number of financing that comes through there, including payments they make to the city of Wilmington. And so making sure we have people who understand finances is direly important as well.
I have a follow-up.
Sure, follow up.
I'm glad you brought up the finance and understanding it, because you would think someone with a true understanding of development would also understand the city that they represent. And I just hope that prices won't skyrocket for parking here in the city of Wilmington like the development did for, let's say, apartments here in the city of Wilmington under his reign as mayor here in the city of Wilmington. We saw huge price increases. I just want to make sure we keep the city affordable when it comes to parking. If he's, so-called such a good developer.
That's wonderful. You bring up that point because, as you know, prices went up across the country, not just Wilmington. And so it is not accurate to pinpoint that on one single individual. What I will also state is in terms of the pricing for the parking, I'm glad you brought that up. The rates as they currently stand for the 6 locations that are controlled by Wilmington Parking Authority, the daily rate on average is about $10. The monthly rate depends on what site you utilize, but it can range on average from about $90 per month to about $180 per month. Again, it depends on which site, which location you go to as well. But in terms of setting the pricing for the Wilmington Parking, that is done by the staff of the Wilmington Parking Authority. The board is a governance board, not operational.
Follow up? You done right now? Now come back. Council member Willow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks very much. Just as long as we're talking about development and the Wilmington Parking Authority, I believe the land that the press is built on was formerly owned by the Wilmington Parking Authority. And I was wondering if it might be possible for you to provide, or the Wilmington Parking Authority to provide council with the records of that sale, like how much it was sold for and things like that.
We can certainly ask them for that, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, that could be a follow-up. Any more questions, Councilmember Willow?
No, that's all I have, Madam Chair.
I'll follow up. Next, we have Councilmember Shanae Darby.
Yes, thank you. I just have one quick question in regards to like the pricing. When they change that, or if they do change it, is City Council notified in any way that it's happening? Are we a part of that conversation?
Chair, may I answer?
Yeah, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
I just want to make sure.
I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Darby, to be honest, I cannot tell you yes or no to that question. I have not seen where that is something that is mandated, I think is the premise of the question. And so whether they have alerted City Council, I'm not in the position to answer because I'm not with City Council.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Any follow-ups?
Yeah, no. No, I'm just thinking of that because, I want the committee to be able to do what it does, but I also know that when changes happen, the first people the community goes to is not the mayor, it's not administration. They come to City Council. So if there's any changes or increases, I was just thinking that we should know. So maybe that's a legislative change I may have to do, but I just wanted to point that out.
I can follow up on the process and see if that is included.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I wanted to say, if I'm not mistaken, I remember seeing a memo out, and it's been a while since the last time they was an increase, but I remember seeing something when they did it. So the public was notified, but that was a good question to follow up on. Okay, we have anyone from the public that, Chris Johnson, Councilman Johnson?
Hi, I just want to know for the record, I have a conflict of interest, as many know, related to my family with the Parking Authority director. So, all I can say is that someone that parks in Philadelphia compared to Wilmington, parked all over, I mean, you can't get better than the rates here. I mean, $10 a day, where in Philadelphia, I
30.
think 2 weeks ago I packed, it's 35.
35.
So, yeah, I just wanted to say that, but I will not be able to vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted, well, I can make that comment. We tried to park on the street, and we was told, so I do pay the $35 down up there compared to 10. So believe me, I'm not saying too much about this. Do we have anyone from Ms. Bass Knight, please?
Chairman Oliver, and this is just more so like a comment, unless the administration wants to address it or have an answer, is the city receives $275,000 from the Wilmington Parking Authority, and that number has remained the same, I would say, for like the last 30 years. Wasn't for sure like if that was ever going to be a subject matter for changing or anything. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Bass Knight. Anyone else from the public like to make a comment? Okay, if not, this would be on the agenda for December the 4th. And Mr. Daniels, I'd like thank you for coming to the committee meeting tonight. Next, we have a resolution authorizing Department of Public Works to grant Delmar Power and Light Company utility assessment for installation, operating, and maintenance of pad mounting transformer over across East 17th Street. Who's here to speak for that?
Vince Grocia, Deputy Commissioner, Department of Public Works. This will be at the Brandywine Pumping Station at 103 East 16th Street. Essentially, the Delmarva connection for high voltage for 15 kV coming into the site now. There's no way to disconnect our building without taking down a block of buildings. So by putting a pad-mounted transformer and switchgear on the site, as Delmarva has requested the easement for, when we need to do service on our building, we'll be able to disconnect the high voltage just to our building. This is something we, as I said, currently can't do because it requires taking down multiple large buildings in the area.
I'm very familiar with that area because that's right back past the weeks. I lived on 17th Street for years, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Delmar Power was sending out some literature to individuals over there because they came over to the Hope Commission and had a meeting over there to discuss it for individuals who lived over in that area, just so you know. It was a nice little turnout. I mean, they discussed it upcoming, so this now I see this is what's, and she said they were going to be giving out sending out something in the mail regarding this. So is this, what is it, old? It's just an old pump?
Their electrical gear, as I understand it, is in a manhole out on Market Street that's a bit treacherous to get into. They have no way to disconnect the main feeder, the 15 kV feeder, from just our building. They have to take down multiple buildings. That's the closest disconnect. So by putting a pad mount transformer on the site over by the Market Street side of the building, they will then be able to, if we need to just turn off power to our building to do service on our high voltage gear, our transformers, or all of our own equipment, they'll be able to facilitate that where currently they cannot.
Do we have any questions from the committee members? Vince, how long, I don't remember, how long would this take? Is it a couple months, 6 months, a year? Do you remember?
It's very short. They just have to bring in a pad and put their gear in. The longest part's going to be getting the gear. We've got a site meeting with them. I believe it's next week to discuss some of the details, but this should happen over about an 8-week or so period.
Let me know so I can, send me an email so I can send it out to council members. Because right now we have an issue with a lot of streets that's being cut off. I know, I'm going to get into, but, people are trying to get in different locations and you have to, ride around for 40 minutes. So just let me know what streets are going to be,
Impacted. Okay.
impacted by, so we can pass that information off so we can share it with our constituents.
Okay.
And let me know this, the site day if it's possible.
The site's going to be on our property, so it's on the.
Now you can email it the day that you're going to go out and do a site walk. I thought you
Okay.
said you was.
Okay.
Do we have any questions from anyone no? Anyone from the public? Do we have council members? Okay, thank you, Mr. Vince, for that. This resolution to be on there January, I want to go through the New Year's. December the 4th. I appreciate it. Next, we have a resolution of approving Department of Public Works grant application for the state of Delaware Health Social Services.
Be me, Vince Croce, Deputy Commissioner, Department of Public Works. This is a grant application for $1,983,661 with no match required through DHSS. This would provide us funding to assist with our design and construction of PFAS treatment at our water treatment plants.
Do we have any questions? I know I have a question. Give me 1 second. Councilmember Owens.
Not a question. I would just like to be added as a co-sponsor. I think this is a very important step to make sure that we have clean and safe drinking water here in the city of Wilmington. And I want to thank y'all for bringing this forward. And hopefully we get the grant.
Thank you. I'm with you. I'm going to make comment at the council member Willauer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. I thank everybody for the work and putting the application together and pursuing these kind of funds for the residents of Wilmington.
Thank you.
And I would like to say there's no negative impact because there's no local matching funds required by this grant. It's free money. And I, too, would like to say that this is the type of grants, these are the type of grants we're looking for when you're talking about clean water. We all know we don't want to be like Flint, Michigan, or some of the other places. And I'm impressed because we talk about, we find a lot of grants for the Wilmington PD, which is good, but these are the grants that, there's always some other grants out there. That's why we're looking for grants for what Councilman Kobe stated for the educational components. I think we may have a small grant coming, but I'm just glad to see I went after this grant and we was awarded it. This is really, really good. Okay, if there's no more questions, this too should be on December the 4th agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate you, Vince, for always being there. Thanks again. Okay, with that being said, that ends our agenda for tonight. And is there a motion to move, a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. If there, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thanks a lot. Good meeting.